with you on what they were. What do we say about the performance of Josh Allen last night?
Special. Wow. Listen, he played absolutely lights out last night. And you watch him, whether he was in the pocket, whether he was buying time and extending plays, getting outside the pocket, he was lethally accurate, man. I mean, you talk about just a guy who had poise and had confidence in what he was doing, trusting his receivers to make plays, but whether they were trying to run zone or man, he exploited it all. And I tell you, last night you saw why the Buffalo Bills are so high on Josh Allen. This is a good defense he beat up on. Listen, at all three levels, the San Francisco 49ers are legitimate. He took advantage at all three levels. Very special performance by Josh Allen last night.
Greg, through a quarterback's eyes, what did you see?
He's amazing, guys. I'm seeing this guy move off the spot. The last couple of years in the league, he was a runner. I mean, that's who he was. He was a great athlete playing quarterback. Well, now he's become a great quarterback that is also an athlete. His ability to move off the spot and be athletic at the position. The guy's got top 10 legs at the position in the NFL. And he might have top 5 arm talent. His ability to move and take advantage on 1st and 10, it's ridiculous. 1st and 10, you're keeping the 49ers off balance throughout the entire time of the entire game. And how about 2015 Cam Newton? I would say that was a pretty good year, guys. I don't know if y'all recall. But if you look at the numbers and how they stack up through 12 games, Josh Allen is actually significantly better than Cam Newton was in his MVP season. Touchdowns, completion percentage, total yardage are all very comparable. And the fact that he takes care of the football, he's Cam Newton but more accurate. It's remarkable to watch this young man's development.
Sorry, spectacular, no question about it. So, Chris, I'll come to you here. We saw Pittsburgh stumble, but they were 11-1. The Chiefs have just one loss. I think we'll give those two the top spot right now in the AFC. Are the Bills next?
Yeah, I think the Bills are the third team in the AFC, and after watching what we saw yesterday, you could probably make a case that they're the second best team in the AFC just based on their resume. They got quality wins against the Dolphins, the Rams, the Raiders, the Patriots, and the Seahawks. So when you look at this football team, even when they don't play at their best, they find ways to win. In the 3 losses that they have, no shame in those against Kansas City, Tennessee, and a Hail Mary against Arizona.
So what you're telling me is the College Football Playoff Committee would be very impressed with their resume.
Very impressed with this resume. But here's the thing. Josh Allen, we were waiting for the evolution of the player. The physical gifts have never been a question. He went through a little bit of a lull in the middle of the season after getting off to a terrific start. But now we're seeing him start to come back around. And just the way that he picked apart that defense for the 49ers, really impressive.
And as I said, they get Pittsburgh in their place in Orchard Park this Sunday night. So they will be able to prove it once again. So those are the games last night. Then to the news of the day. New York Jets defensive coordinator Greg Williams fired after his ill-fated decision to run a cover 0 blitz against the Raiders that resulted in Vegas scoring an improbable game-winning touchdown. Here was head coach Adam Gase on the decision to fire Williams.
I obviously wasn't happy about that call. That was a heartbreaking way for our guys to lose a game. For that to happen in that situation, it's just, we can't have that happen. I mean, obviously he wasn't happy. I mean, like most of us are when this happens. But that's how professional. We've all been in that situation where we lost our jobs.
Our insider Dan Graziano was up with us early this morning. Dan, what can you tell us?
Well, look, I mean, this was coming, and honestly, the firing of Adam Gase is coming here in about 4 weeks' time. So there's going to be new coaching in place with the Jets next year. We've all known that for quite a while. I think what's interesting about this situation is the dynamic between Adam Gase and Greg Williams that has existed since they got the jobs. Remember, the organization wanted Greg Williams as the defensive coordinator. One of the reasons Gase got the job as head coach is that he was okay with that. And for 2 years, they stayed out of each other's way, right? I mean, Greg Williams ran the defense, and Adam Gase ran the offense and was the head coach. But, Greg Williams had a lot of autonomy over that defense. And I think, that separation of powers can be a problem in an organization. So as the Jets look forward next month to try and figure out who their next head coach is going to be, I think it's incumbent upon them to do it differently this time and make sure that you hire someone who's empowered to sort of establish the culture in the organization versus, hey, you come in, get the quarterback right, we'll let somebody else take care of the defense. I just think there's a lot of soul searching the Jets have to do in terms of this process that they're about to undergo.
That's a very nice way of saying that they have absolutely no idea what they're doing, and that starts with ownership. And Chris Canty, let me come to you here on this if we could, because Adam Gase, whether it's his decision fully or not to make the firing of Greg Williams yesterday, what did you think of that?
I didn't understand why the Jets didn't ask Adam Gase to pack up his office as well. I mean, his key shard shouldn't work when he showed up to the building on Monday. But the fact is that this feels like another one of those situations where Adam Gase is deflecting responsibility away from his job. He's the head coach, and in an end-of-game situation like what took place on Sunday, he's got the headset on. He's got a timeout in his back pocket. Why didn't he use the timeout in that situation? I mean, you practice that, you drill that every single week in the National Football League. And even if you don't agree with the call, at least take the timeout so you can see what formation the Raiders are running, personnel grouping, and you can match it and get your very best play. He failed to do both of those. You can't just put it on Greg Williams. It's Adam Gase as well. The buck stops with him. He's the head coach.
Yeah, Jeff Saturday, what are your thoughts?
Absolute trash, Greeny. I mean, listen, this team has been awful. Whether the worst team offensively in the league and have been the entire season. Defensively, they ranked one of the bottom. But to fire a guy after this call is absolutely ridiculous. Listen, he's an aggressive play caller, but he was in cover 3 a couple plays before where they overthrow Aguilar. So which play do you want to fire him for? Like, I mean, his defense isn't playing good. Your offense isn't playing good. I agree with Chris. Like, how are you going to blame this on one guy? And you know the call. That's the worst part of as a head coach. You knew the call. It didn't work out. So all of a sudden you're going to fire a guy with 4 weeks left. I just think it's absolutely ridiculous. Let him finish it out with the rest of you. You all know you're going to be fired at the end of the season. I just don't like putting it on, placing the blame on one guy. Absolutely ridiculous.
On some level, you almost might say they did him a favor by not making him have to stick it out with the rest of us for these last 4 weeks and go spend the holidays with his family. Dan Graziano, do we have any sense of where it goes from here? Again, you pointed out there's going to be a total wholesale change there. Is there any reading of the tea leaves to be done on what direction they may look?
Look, I mean, it's early yet. Obviously, I believe the Jets are thinking along these lines. And you do hear rumblings, right? Now, it's tough this time of year to sort the rumblings from the reality. With some of the rumblings you hear, that you've heard a lot of Jim Harbaugh rumors connected to the Jets. We still don't know if Jim Harbaugh even wants back in the NFL. And if he does, what kind of interest there will be. I found it interesting. Our Jets reporter, Rich Cimini, raised this possibility in his Sunday Notebook this week about Doug Peterson. If the Eagles decided to move on from him, a connection exists there. Joe Douglas, the Jets GM, was in Philadelphia with Peterson, so could be an interesting situation to watch there as well. But you know, they've had a jump on this. Obviously, the Jets have been thinking along these lines for a while, and their search will begin in earnest in 4 weeks if it hasn't already.
Yeah, Cimini has been around that team forever. I think that is definitively one to watch, depending on what happens in Philadelphia. And with that thought in mind, we'll take our first short time out here. But coming up, the truth hurts.